2. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. My name's Mark, and I'm joined by my brother, Rayz, Rayz de Alba. Before we get started, we're going to be discussing some DC, but before we get started, mainly the Batman trailer, Rayz, you want to tell everybody where they can find you at, bro?
Yeah, of course. They could find me at Rayz Alba on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and you could also find me on My Couch Academia on YouTube.
Nice. All right, so I guess we should really jump right into it. For those of you who have not seen the Batman trailer, featuring R. Pat's Edward from Twilight playing Batman. Everybody kind of made fun of him at first. I did a little bit at first too, but then I saw that leaked behind the scenes footage of him on the motorcycle, and then the images of him in his first costume came out, or like they were like sort of like CGI renderings, I guess, graphic art, if you will, for the movie. And I was excited, and I realized that the Twilight, kind of wasn't the greatest movies, but his acting talent is there. I've seen him in a few other films outside of that. Most recently, The Lighthouse, or whatever that movie that he did. I've seen a few scenes from that in preparation for, getting excited about the Batman, and I think his talent is all the way there. But Rayz, what was your opinion when you first heard that Edward or Arpaz was going to be playing Batman?
I mean, I was like, is he gonna shine like in Twilight? Is he gonna be like glittery and stuff? No, but I mean, in all seriousness,
I thought you meant acting talent. I'm like, what?
No, when the light hit him in Twilight, he shined and glittered. But I mean, in all seriousness, though, when I heard of the news first, I was a bit like, oh my God, what did they do? Oh no, he doesn't have like the jaw. Like for some reason, I went to the jaw. But like you said, when immediately you hear it, you kind of have like like what? And then you kind of remember he's a great actor. Like he's a very high-end caliber actor, and he loses himself in his roles. So then I was like, you know what? I'm actually kind of excited. And, they have a different take on it. It's a younger Batman, and I'm interested in seeing what he brings to the table.
Right, and you mentioning his jaw makes me bring up the whole eye makeup. Now, obviously, people screen capped that and made references to the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, and someone had tweeted some shit like, "When I was a young boy," and when I first started reading it, I'm like, "Why does this sound familiar?" And I'm like, "Oh, these are the lyrics to Black Parade by." Oh, it was hilarious. But anyway, I actually am super excited about the I guess the continuity, or whatever the hell you want to call it, of Batman wears eye makeup in all of these movies, right? Underneath his eyelids, like that are visible through the mask, but then when he takes that shit off, it disappears. I, along with like millions of other people, I'm pretty sure, were excited to see that when the fucking helmet is removed, Batman still has that magical eye makeup. Like it doesn't disappear. And that attention to detail from Matt Reeves, and like how long this film has been worked on, and the fact that, we had Ben Affleck leave like part of the way through it, then we had to wait for this recasting. We've been waiting for this movie for so long. People realize that we've seen Batman for 30 years. Like Batman has been on the screen since before I was born, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like obviously in the 60s or whenever the comic was created, but these movies have been pretty iconic. We got the Tim Burton ones coming all the way up into The Dark Knight. My favorite one, Batman Begins. Like it's nice to see that sort of attention to detail, and the fact that Matt Reeves is putting this much time into it. I feel like this movie is going to be amazing. But really jumping into the trailer, Rayz, what was the first thing that you noticed from this trailer that made you go, oh shit?
I mean, one thing that kind of stuck out to me was the color palette, if that makes any sense. Like the color, the tone of the movie. That stuck out to me right away because it is something different from every other Batman movie. Like when you look at it, and it isn't too different from like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies when you look at it, but just like it's this tone that it's setting, the seriousness, the realistic tone of it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I believe this guy is dressing as a bat and beating people up. You know what I mean? Based off of this trailer alone. And everything that, just like the costumes, the outfits, everything, it seems a little bit more grounded than I thought initially. I thought it would be a little bit more even to the cartoons or the animated series, but no, it's more grounded in reality. And I could appreciate that personally. It's very different from the Ben Affleck and, the 90s Batmans, to say the least.
Yeah, the Ben Affleck was the rush to get something out because Marvel movies are doing amazing and the Avengers movies are about to, you know, blow up. So that's what I sort of felt like with that Ben Affleck. It was a rush cast, and they were like, he's a pretty well known actor. He has been in some insanely good movies in the past. We know that he's capable of putting in the work to become this role. And then they didn't realize that he's not exactly someone that wanted to be really seemed like he wanted to be part of a franchise. But what you were saying about like the tone and the setting of the trailer, I agree with that. I've said this like thousands of times. It's really simple to make a good movie, and this is obviously just my opinion because I'm not a filmmaker, nor am I a writer, nor have I ever had any experience doing that. But I feel like a good movie, as long as you do something uh, like in the end, in the middle, in the beginning that follows the rules that you set up for your universe, then it's believable as long as you play by the rules of that movie. And like what you were saying about the tone and the setting of this trailer, it makes you feel like, okay, this is a dude who has a lot of money. They told us that this is going to be his second year of being Batman, so you could just see the scrappiness, the un I guess veteran Batman, and that's always what kind of got skipped over in these Batman movies. I mean, obviously in Batman Begins and in most of them, you can kind of see him becoming Batman, but that gets glazed over. Much like with Superman and his upbringing in Smallville and then going into Metropolis and working for the Daily Planet. You didn't get to see that in the movies. That was all like, okay, we have a few scenes of that, and then we skip to it. He's Superman. You know what I mean? And then Smallville came out, and you got to see average setting becoming of age sort of Superman where he's growing into his own is a lot more relatable because when that show came out, I was in like late middle school or some shit and watched it all the way through high school, so you kind of got to grow up with that Superman and see what it's like to become what it was like for him to become the Man of Steel. So for this new Batman movie and it being only the second year of crime fighting, this is going to be amazing. And Rayz, I know I didn't actually see this when I watched the trailer probably like a few hundred times now, but Rayz with his eagle-eye vision, he caught Penguin in the trailer.
Colin Farrell as Penguin. They really did something crazy with him. I'm curious as to how they did it, if it was CG or just prosthetic, but it looks nothing like the beautiful angel that is Colin Farrell. You know what I mean? And it is really something to be in awe of. Because, like, I saw it a few times and I was like, who is that? And I was like, is that Penguin? Because of his long kind of nose, a little bit longer, peak nose. But I mean, the casting on this is stellar, in my opinion. Like, when you dig into like the casting on this, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano, Zoe Kravitz, Jeffrey Wright, it's great all around. And I'm very curious to see, because one of my biggest fears when it comes to superhero movies, and to me, this is the curse of Spider-Man. Spider-Man, whenever you see this in a Spider-Man movie, beware and fear. Whenever they overstuff with all these villains in one movie, it usually goes very bad. We saw it with Spider-Man 3. We saw it with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And here we have the Riddler and Penguin. And I'm very curious to see if they will do it justice and they will give and spread it out. And we also have Catwoman as well. So we have these three characters besides Batman, and I'm curious to see how they're going to balance that out. I want to see who's going to be like the villain in charge, to say the least. Like, who's going to be head honcho, who's going to be the bigger threat, and what the plot thread is going to be, because we know that this Batman, the story is going to be more of a detective story, right? That's what they're saying. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to angle everybody else's story. I mean, you have Andy Serkis as Alfred. I mean, just think about that for a second. Snoke is Alfred.
Oh, or more importantly, Sneaker. You know what I'm saying?
I know, it's crazy though. Just thinking about that.
He's probably the of our generation. He's the greatest character actor. It maybe not, if not of all time, but just dude, he's played everyone from the fucking monkey to the new Planet of the Apes to like any and everything. It's crazy. That's such an epic casting.
I mean, I honestly am super curious how they're going to balance it out, how they're going to kind of like introduce him, but in his second year, like you said. That to me is going to be something that I'm curious to see how they bring it all together. You know what I mean? Because Batman is one of those more complex comic book characters, whereas it's a billionaire who's dressing up as a bat, no powers, and he's just beating people up. I mean, the way that he beat the hell out of that guy in that trailer is
And
like,
then, bro, that made me feel like I was playing Gotham, Night of Gotham, or the more recent Batman movie, like, or Batman video game. Like, I felt like I was playing that.
it's like you could tell that it's someone who is very mad at the current state of things. He is very upset, and it's crazy because when you look at the face, and there's this one kid in the trailer. I'm not sure if you noticed it. This one kid who has like his face half painted, and you could see that the kid is crying as he's seeing it. Like it is insane. He's like teared up seeing
Yeah.
this guy, this lunatic
Yeah,
dressed as a bat beating him
so
up.
for before we really wrap this up, because I know we're gonna we plan on, and I don't know, we're trying to figure out the scheduling now, but we definitely, I know I want to start covering a lot of DC content, and I know Rayz is the expert in that, so I know we kind of want to get something going on, but just sort of keeping this one a bit streamlined. I did want to mention that, like, what, for just from playing off from what you were just saying about how that kid looks terrified, that part I do remember. This is going to be like, so you know, Batman, if they're following the original storyline of Batman, just to summarize it, basically he sees his parents die, he kind of I guess stays in Gotham for a little while, but then eventually leaves, goes to Ra's al Ghul, becomes like part of the League of Shadows, and then comes back to Gotham. And during that whole time of him being gone and training and really becoming Batman, I guess, or getting the skills to become Batman, this is when Gotham's crime just raises up and goes crazy. So that whole time that he's gone, and I think they confirmed that what's his name, Carmine Falcone is going to be, or Falcone, and I remember he was part of the Dark Knight, so that's going to, he's probably going to be the main villain at first, and then after he comes back and starts to like fight crime, and we get to see, like you were saying, the actual detective, the world's greatest detective at work, and it'll be like a which is awesome because we'll get to see sort of like a police, almost like a drama of a, like a detective movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But then, you know, he's fucking Batman. But so then we also have, and you had mentioned this before, we have Selena Kyle, Oswald Cobblepot, who we know is the Penguin. Selena Kyle is Catwoman. And then usually, traditionally, the Riddler is Enigma, but or Edward Nigma, but he's going to be going by Edward Nash for this movie. And we do know that one of the things that I think is going to play a bigger theme into this one, is it supposed to be rated R? Do you know if it's going to be rated R?
I doubt it because it's a Batman movie. They want to sell toys. They'll probably be pushing it with PG-13.
Right, but I thought we were getting into, with the Joker being like rated R, I thought we were getting into the darker. So this is like obviously an alternate universe Batman, and then we're gonna have the Flashpoint with the original Batfleck and the dude who played Flash, and then in his movie, I guess it'll explain why we're having these alternate universe. I feel like if they're wise, and I don't know enough about the behind the scenes DC like leaks and lore and stuff to really know if they're going to link the Joker in this new Batman. But if he's playing a younger version, this is going to be set in an earlier time frame in Gotham. They could kind of potentially set it in like an alternate reality 90s, since we know that the Joker was kind of the 80s, I guess, and we could sort of have the two of them, like the Joker maybe is a part of this world. But I feel like if we're going to stay down that dark theme of superhero movies, why not make this one super dark? And those scenes where you're watching him, one of the kid who has, like you were saying, his face painted, maybe the reason why he's almost crying is because this new Batman is just insanely brutal. Like, he's basically one step away from using guns. Maybe it would almost be better if he would use guns because he's not like brutalizing these people so much. I'm assuming they're gonna pay more attention to real life actual like trauma that Batman would put these villains through if he's breaking their spines, severing their tendons, like doing all kinds of crazy shit to them, while also beating them up for somewhat minor of a crime because he's trying to put a name out for himself. He works on that fear the bat sort of mentality, and in doing so, we're going to get to see him building a name.
One of the things that I really liked about the Ben Affleck Batman was that they explored that a little bit more. That he was more brutal. He branded them like that is insane for a hero to be crazy doing that. But
he also used guns, so I don't know if that was like that true. You know, I don't know.
To me, it's more of like because when he uses guns, you got to understand he can't fight parademons.
Right.
And you know,
Right.
But I mean,
Batman would have found a way, and it probably would have been a laser gun or something, not a flat out like machine gun like they did. I don't know. I'm just talking shit at this point.
no, but I mean, like to me, that scene was probably my favorite scene when he's beating the guy up, because it's like the big loud guy, and this is everything in life. The big loud guy speaking up, talking a lot of ish, and then next thing you know, everybody has a plan until you punch him in the mouth. and like this kid is like terrified that their little gang leader is like being beat up in front of him, like, and it's crazy. So I like the feeling. I overall enjoyed it. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I think that now, since we have like a lot of like sort of like standing up to being a bully and standing up for yourself and like injustice and sort of like signaling of people's virtue, since that righteous kind of way of thinking is going right now in the real world, I feel like that's going to play into this this new Batman movie, and potentially maybe he could be like sort of like tracking down certain people that like has like I don't even know what point I was getting at, but I'll probably edit this part out. Picking it all right, so 3, 2. All right, so Rayz, I mean, I've kind of shared most of my thoughts on this. Did you want to mention anything that you noticed in the trailer that we kind of didn't cover before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I think we covered it all. We showed, I think, what's important, our excitement, because it was dope.
Right. And I feel like we're gonna know more because they've been working on this for what, 2 years now, or?
Yeah, it's been in the workings. You've heard about it a lot. Maybe even more, because remember, there was a lot of back and forth between Matt Reeves and Ben Affleck. They were going to do it together, and then he kind of like outed Ben, and Ben didn't want to do it. A lot of drama.
Yeah, so I guess with this iteration of Robert Pattinson, but they said it was going to be out next year, if I'm not mistaken. And it's only going to be out in theaters, so it's not going to be on their other platforms. But I want to thank you so much for watching this, and thank you, Ray, for joining me. Please, if y'all could, slap a like on this video, leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed. More DC content is coming, and me and Ray actually plan on starting a bit of the Boys discussion when that comes out. We get 3 episodes all at once, so look forward to that. Ray, do you want to tell everybody once again where they can find you at?
You could find me at Rayz the Alba on all social media, and you could also follow me, Rayz the Alba, and My Hero and My Couch Academia on YouTube as well.
All right, awesome. And I follow him on those, and they're linked down below in the description, so make sure you guys go do that. Thanks again for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunts.